red lights on, quiet. Okay, yesterday you were disappointed that the projector wasn't working, and so we couldn't get to how do you make all that money. So today we're going to talk about it. You guys are going to really have to be on top of me to make sure that I'm inputting the right information. Did I do it wrong? Okay. Write your name on the paper. Put your checkbooks up. That's not what we're doing today. Don't growl at me. Just put them up. Okay, I want to show you that this is our local bank. We're using CBT, and this is their homepage, cbthomebank.com. You don't have to use theirs. I just know where the stuff is on this one, and that you can use this one. Now you'll go to financial calculators. Okay, push it better than that, or maybe you unfreeze the computer. There. Financial calculators. Click on the financial calculators. Now you notice there's all different kinds of opportunities on here. I'm going to read you some of these. The top one is personal finance. Simple loan calculator. What's a simple loan? What you got the other day?
It doesn't have the compound interest.
It has interest, but it's not the compound interest. It's just that straight % of interest. Well, we want to learn about is compound interest. But if you have a simple interest loan, like you buy that couch, they're just going to give you simple interest. You can figure out how much it's going to cost you, what your budget is. So say you have $1,000, you can go figure out how much can I afford if I'm going to have to pay interest. And then there's also some other things in here which we'll use later, like how much car can I afford? So you're going to figure out how much is your payment, how much can you afford a month, and you're going to figure that out in how many months and how much you have to put down and how much you want to pay each month, how much can you actually go buy a car for. So there's a lot of those different things in here. There's all kinds of financial information for buying a home, and then some other retirement information. We're going to talk a little bit about Roth IRAs and regular IRAs. I mean, we might get into that today, we might not, we'll see. But you can use these calculators to figure those out, how much money you would actually earn in your retirement, how much you would have when you're ready to retire. But today we're going to go through and use the investment calculators, and we're going to talk about how much money could I save. Hello? Are we home? Come on. It's not wanting to play. Nice.
She's laughing.
It was on earlier today. Oh, maybe it's over here. It was already open. My mistake. Okay, this is, let's see. I'm going to open it up again because I want to make sure it's at the default. Okay, this is the default. So when you open this calculator, it will have this information in here. We're going to go ahead and do this just for the fun of it. This would be assuming that you had $100, you invested $100, deposited $100. Every year, every month you're going to put in another $100. You're going to do this for 10 years at 6% interest. So this would be a pretty good savings or investment tool because remember, CBT is only giving 0.5% to 1%. People's Bank is only giving 1 1/4 according to Mrs. Ball. So for 10 years, you would have $16,000. How much should you put in? 10 years, $1,000 a year. $10,000. You would have earned $16,000 at 6% interest at $100 a month. Actually, it was a little bit more than $1,000 a year. $100 a month, you would have had $16,000. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go through this worksheet and talk about some of the what-ifs. We're going to start with if your grandparents, on the day that you were born, gave you $1,000 and they put it in the bank, how much would that $1,000 be worth on your 18th birthday? So you guys have to make sure that I fill these out right, okay? He's not going to put any more money in there. So we're just going to start with $1,000, one-time lump sum, annually. You're going to save it until you're how old? 18, what's the interest rate?
6.
Good, that one's already there. So make sure that I put everything in there correctly. He's not adding any more. Each of his grandchildren, he gives $1,000 when they're born, okay? Calculate that. $1,000 on your 18th birthday, please do, is going to be worth $2,800. So it's 2.5 times what he put in on your birthday. No work, no adding anymore, no nothing. Just it's now worth $2,800. You guys got that written down? All right, next. How about if he gave you $1,000 every year on your birthday? You didn't get a nice, maybe you got a little handwritten card. You didn't get, a new bike. You didn't get Legos, but you instead, he put that $1,000 in your account for you. I realize I have an extra blank in there, so you can just ignore one of those blanks. How much on your 18th birthday? Anybody want to guess?
Quite a bit.
How much is he putting in? How many? 18,000. At your 18th birthday, there would be $33,000 in there. That's a little bit more than the $18,000. $33,760. What could you do on your 18th birthday or when you graduate from high school with $33,000? Go to college. That won't even pay for a year of Harvard, but that's a start. Get a car. Nice car. Maybe an apartment. Anything else? Okay, somebody give me this number in just a second. You guys have the number written down for me? Okay. So we're going to go back, $33,760. We're going to take that $33,000. Why did I do that? I don't know. It doesn't look neat. $33,760. We are not going to add anything else to it. We're going to leave that money from Grandpa. When we graduate from high school, we're not going to put any more money in it. We're just going to let it grow until you retire. How many years from the time you're 18 until you're 65? I should have written this down. Okay,
47. No, yeah, it's 47.
18.
She's right.
47.
Okay, 47. So you're not going to add any more to it. You start out with the $33,000. 47 years. In fact, you forgot it's there. You get a statement every year, but you forgot it's there. And so it's not hurting you any at all, is it? Because Grandpa put the money in for you. Awesome, Grandpa. Ready to retire, and you go, oh yeah, I have that money. Maybe it'll go, maybe it won't. $500,000. 18 years of putting in $1,000 a year. Don't touch it. And after 65 years, it's worth it's worth $500,000. Maybe, maybe not. Probably, unless he's a real old coot that continues to grow. Average lifespan right now is 78 years. And there are more and more people who are living to be 100. So it could be that you retire and Grandpa's still alive. You never know.
What if he's a vampire?
If he's a vampire, he'll outlive you.
Unless you're a vampire.
Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to take that money, that $1,000 a year that he originally started out for you. Whoops, too much. And at 18, you're not going to do anything with it, but with the original $33,000 that you have at 18, but instead, you, as you start working, are going to add $1,000 a year. So 18 plus that 47, you add $1,000 a year. Grandpa started you out with his $18,000, and you're going to continue to add $1,000 a year. Anybody venture a guess how much it's going to be worth? A little more?
2 million.
At least $1 million.
At least $1 million?
Yeah.
Not quite. 763,000. It's only $1,000 a year, though.
Where does this go? Kind of confusing.
Did I not put it on there?
You didn't put the last one on there either.
That's all
This
right.
one would be,
No, this one is, if you added $1,000 a year to it, how much money would you have if you were to retire on your 65th birthday? I just said it differently than it says on the
What
worksheet.
about the $500,000? Where does that one go? Does that go to like
No, I just did that one for fun.
Alright.
I should add it to the worksheet, but I didn't. Okay. So that's only with the money that Grandpa started for you. We're gonna start over again. What if Grandpa didn't leave you any money and you start working at 18? And you put away $3,000 a year?
at 12%. That's a good interest rate.
12%, what is that number? I heard that before. Is it 47 years, is that what it was?
Yeah.
No, it's 40 years, and so that's,
Well,
22 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it 22 years?
Yeah.
Okay, this is, some people say they want to retire at 40, so we're gonna see how much money would you have if you put away $3,000 a year, every year, from the time you're 18, you start working at 18, and you're an investment in the stock market. The stock market performs at the stock market average of 12%. $313,000, you're only 40 years old, is that enough money to retire on? You can kick back and do nothing for the rest of your life on $313,000?
I'm a very cheap person.
Okay, let's extrapolate that out another 25 years. How much a year would that be? And you probably not a whole lot. You had $300,000, and you've got 30 more years to go. If you're 40 until you're 70, 30 years, that's only $10,000 a year. Is that enough to retire on? Probably not. So I think we have to figure out a way to make more money. So instead of retiring at 40 years old, how about if you decide that you're not going to retire until you're 72?
I'm never.
Or you're not going to start taking money. You can stop working, but you can still be putting money in there. I know my other class really laughed at this. They thought, why on earth would anybody want to keep putting money away out when they're that old, almost dead? Well, remember that the lifetime average right now is 78. You're not dead yet. So what would it be, 72 years old, you started working at 18, that's 54 years, is that right?
Yep.
54 years. That's a long time. You could be at working at Walmart, you're at Walmart. 12%.
Yeah.
12% stock market average. Just religiously every year you put away $3,000 a year during your working career. Anybody want to guess? $1 million? $12 million.
That was my next guess.
12, you can stop, thanks. $12 million. Red button. Okay, while you guys were at lunch, I changed this just a little bit. I subtracted 1 year. So we are looking at, instead of saving your money until you're 72, this is only until 71. So instead of 54 years, it's 53 years. Do you remember what the answer was for saving your money until $12,708,014.55. So we're gonna. You guys said that 72 years old was too long to wait to retire. So the difference is going to be $11,343,000. How much? What's that difference?
$1,300,000.
Almost a million and a quarter. 1 year. By the time you have that much money in there, just 1 year can add you another $1 million. So can you see why that would be important to leave that money in there longer? Okay, so I know you guys are thinking, what's an old person need with $12 million? They're too old to spend it. What if this was your grandpa again? And he'd saved $12 million over the course of his lifetime.
And it all went to you.
That was his plan. Ah ha ha ha! All goes to you. That's what's called a legacy. That's that saving money for future generations. This is how the wealthy get wealthier. Is they don't think in terms of what can I do with the money. They think in terms of how can my money work for me. You probably aren't going to be able to just work and put that money away and put it in a passbook savings account and end up with that kind of change. You're going to have to put it in some sort of an investment tool that can earn the money for you. Remember we talked about going to sleep at night and let your money work for you. Okay, so you guys get the idea of the earlier you start and the more you put in, the more opportunity there is for increasing your nest egg or your legacy, leaving that history for your family. Okay, we're going to move on to, let's look and see if you and your sweetheart decide that you're going to wait until you're 25, have a couple of kids, maybe, or just, maybe you wait until you're 25 to get married. And you're each going to put away $3,000 a year. You're both working. So now you have $6,000 a year that you're going to put away from the time that you're 25 until you're 65, because that's your goal, is to retire at 65. We're going to go ahead and use the stock market average of 12%. Not going to make anything too fancy. We're not going to project that it's going to make 26 like it has in some years. Just the average return of 12%. What do you think? You and your sweetie. It's not a huge amount of money.
$500,000.
$500,000 at the end of 40 years.